Welcome back to another edition of the Night Report podcast. I'm your host, Mike Broadbent. Joining me once again is my co-host, Richie O'Leary. The Players Era NIL tournament in Vegas is set. The field has been finalized over the weekend, and Rutgers opponents have been announced. We'll get into that. We'll talk what's going on in the transfer portal with Rutgers, both in basketball and football. And we have our giveaway to finally do. So the Gimme 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 giveaway for the three prizes, the cornhole set, the Rutgers stitched jersey for football, and the Dylan Harper autograph card will be given away today. So stay tuned. That'll be at the end of the episode. But first, this podcast is presented by Night and Day Apparel, calling all Rutgers students, alumni, and fans. Are you looking for new and unique Rutgers merchandise? Night and Day Apparel has you covered. From t-shirts to hoodies, drinkware to pet accessories, Night and Day focuses on providing the Rutgers community with exclusive one-of-a-kind tailgating products. Be sure to check out the links in today's podcast description to their website and social media so you can stay on top of everything Night and Day, including new merch drops and promotional announcements. Shop now and keep shopping. All right, let's talk about this tournament field because it was finalized over the weekend when Creighton was able to pull out the battle for Atlantis and become the 8th team. We had talked about this possibly being split into two MTEs.
Yep.
And that was finalized today. Ryan Fonseca quote tweeted a Matt Norlander article and referenced a lot of those bits in his article. And the primary reason it had to get split into two MTEs to go a little behind baseball, inside baseball here, sorry. The NCAA dictates that two teams from the same conference can't compete in the same MTE. So because the SEC has Texas A&M and Alabama in this, and the Big Ten has Oregon and Rutgers in this tournament, it had to be split into two MTEs. There was just no way that they couldn't. So they split it into two pods. We'll talk about the pod that isn't involved with Rutgers first. That is Creighton, that is Texas A&M, that's Oregon, and that is San Diego State. Now, if you are keeping track at home and know all the teams, that means that Rutgers basically got all of the teams that have the biggest storylines revolving around Rutgers in their pod. So Rutgers is going to face Houston, which knocked Rutgers out of the tournament in 2021. They're going to face Notre Dame, which knocked Rutgers out of the tournament in 2022. And they're going to face Alabama, which will be headed by Cliff Omori in their backcourt or in their front court. So three really juicy, intriguing matchups. I was looking into Bart Torvik has a tool that has the projected rankings for each one of these teams. And there's clearly an A tier and a B tier of this tournament. So based on their rankings right now, we're going to face the number 1 team in the country in Houston. We're going to face the number 22 team in the country, which is Alabama. But there's a big asterisk there because if Mark Sears returns, the tool is really cool on Bart Torvik because you can plug transfers in, you could have people return. So if they have Mark Sears return, that bumps them up all the way to the number 10 team in the country. Now, Rutgers is ranked 33rd right now, according to this tool. But for fun, I just plugged in, if we added Supreme Cook, where would we rank? Bumps us up all the way to number 17 in the country. So that's a big movement. And Notre Dame is ranked 83rd, according to this. And another juicy storyline for this, Matalacco spurned Rutgers for Notre Dame, former Zach Martini teammate. So we'll be playing them as well. What are your thoughts on how this shook out for Rutgers? Does this make you more excited that we're in the A tier, or is this kind of like, oh, this might be, two bad losses for Rutgers early in the season?
No, there's no such thing as a bad loss when it's like against top 15, top 10 teams, like even. I think that Alabama being that low, I know, like you said, they're still waiting on Sears, but Alabama being that low is kind of wild because I think they're going to be like a top 5 team all year long. I know just going through the numbers and stuff, like they finished last year at the net, a 9 in the net. They obviously got a lot of good pieces, not just Cliff. They returned a bunch of dudes. They might return Mark Sears as well. So it could just be a crazy grouping for that one. That one's going to be tough.
Do they return Grant Nelson?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Oh, that's huge.
So, and he's going to play the 4 this year. I think he played mostly 5 last year, if I recall. I'm not 100% on that. Didn't watch a lot of Alabama, if you couldn't tell. Yeah, no, I mean, they're a great team. Houston, obviously the tournament team that they faced a couple years ago. Maybe get some revenge there, but they're projected to be like the top team in the country next season. I know they finished 2 in the net this year. And then Notre Dame. Notre Dame, there's more to it than just the fact that Matalaco's there, and it's Notre Dame, who they also faced in the tournament a couple years ago. It's Micah Shrewsbury. And Micah Shrewsbury is one of those guys who helped lure Cam Spencer into the portal. Or no, not just Cam. It was Paul. It was Cam? Paul? I forget. Lured one of them into the portal. Or helped lure him into the portal, and then didn't get him. So it's just a little bit more of a kind of a revenge tour almost for Rutgers. I don't want to say the Cliff one's a revenge game, but he left. So if you're not with us, you're against us type of mentality now. It'll be interesting to see, but yeah, and I don't think there's anything really such thing as a bad loss when it's against a top 10 team, top 15 team. Is it going to hurt if they lose 2 out of the 3? Yeah, 100%. But who knows? Maybe they pull away 2 out of 3. I'd be shocked if they pulled 3 out of 3, but who knows how good these guys are going to be and how good this team's going to gel. So we'll wait and see.
Yeah, I guess you're right, and especially in terms of like net rankings, they don't really penalize you if you play a strong opponent, especially in a non-home setting. This will be a neutral site game. I more so meant like blowout losses.
No, yeah, of course. I will say Lenardi has. I know it's way too early to do bracketology, but he does it anyway. Alabama, or I'm sorry, we'll start with Houston. Houston is the number 2 overall seed, and then Alabama is the top number 2 seed. Notre Dame is not in the field whatsoever, so it's something to note.
Yeah, no, it's a huge deal.
6 also, just forgot about that.
Okay,
that would help.
Yeah, it's a huge deal. There were some funny quotes from the Matt Norlander article. One I want to highlight. There's a lot of coaches who were anonymously quoted for this article. One of the coaches said, if there are events where an extraordinary amount of money is involved there's no donor fatigue involved in this, how do you not play in this? One coach participating in the Players Era Festival told CBS Sports. He went on to be quoted as saying, there's not a decision we make that's not NIL driven. I'll play in the parking lot of Mandalay Bay. Just clear the fucking check.
It's got to be Nate Oates.
So good.
It's got to be. I feel like he just
so good.
Yeah, it's got to be Nate Oates if I had to guess out of all the coaches. But he just has that type of mentality where he just like, fuck it, just give me the money. I don't care. And all their decisions technically have been NIL driven. Like,
it's true. That is very true. But this kind of just goes to emphasize how big of a year Rutgers is expected to have, both nationally and inside the program. Speaking of inside the program, we've kind of heard rumblings that Rutgers might be satisfied at the center position. Talk about what you're hearing regarding the center position for Rutgers going into next season.
Yeah, so Trilly actually posted it the other day. He said his Rutgers source said that they're pretty content with the big men they have. I think that's just a colossal mistake. You're one injury away.
Do you think it's a mistake? Do you think it's a smokescreen? Do you believe that you're actually planning on going into next season with Agbole, Lathan, and that's it at center?
That's it. Nate, it's possible. I know after talking to some people after that was posted, I just reached out to a couple sources, and someone said, yeah, well, maybe you'll see some Martini at the 5 as well. And I'm like, dude, what are they doing? I think it's a huge mistake. But it could be a smokescreen. It could be like, hey, we're not paying this money to the supreme cooks of the world who are getting now trying to get 500,000. You saw it today. Great Osabor or Osabor. I don't know how to pronounce it, but she's got $2 million from Washington, and like he's middle of the pack, like center, I guess, maybe slightly above average. He's pretty good numbers wise, but like $2 million for a guy that's not like a top tier center, it's crazy. And we've heard other numbers too. We've heard like Amari Williams got almost $1 million from where the hell did he go? Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Yeah, Kentucky. So I think they just don't want to spend that money. Now, people are asking because Rutgers was rumored with Amari Williams back when it was $600,000 in the beginning of the transfer portal window. And if you do the math, technically, so like if Rutgers was involved for $600,000 for him, then you take away Tyson Acuff, who rumored got $200,000. Then you take away Zach Martini, who rumored got $100,000. Then who knows what Jordan Zerkat commanded? I would assume he's probably in between those two if you just base on his numbers and kind of what he's produced. So there's like almost more than half your $600,000 that you just had, and who knows what their entire bank was like. I know they're saying next year's teams. Who was it? Jason Belzer posted said next year's Power 4 teams are going to command about a $1.5 million each year budget. It's going to be tough to keep up with some of that stuff. Now, can you find pieces like I think Martini, if that's for $100, it's a good deal. I think other ones are good deals too, but it's going to be tough to try to like figure it out. How much do you have left for a center? Plus, how much playing time is this center going to get? Because you do have Lathan Somerville, who's probably not going to start right away, but at this point might have to start right away. But even if he doesn't start, he's still going to get what, 15 minutes a game, 20 minutes a game, even
At least, yeah.
Yeah. So like, and then by the time it gets mid-season, late season, this guy's probably your full-time starter. Then he's taking 25, 30 minutes a game. How much is this backup center / starting center to begin with going to get? So you got to argue that as well. And then the money. It's just the money at the end of the day. But they're one injury away from Lathan being the only guy out there, or Emmanuel being the only guy out there. And I think that's a major concern and a major flaw. I think you'd have to think this has to be a smokescreen for the sole fact that they've contacted so many different centers. You're just going to give up now? Like, maybe it's a smokescreen to lower prices, lower the market a little bit. But I think it's almost the opposite, because if you wait it out like Great Asabor did, you still get paid a shit ton, even though you're not the best center. Supply and demand at this point.
Yeah, that's fair. And I'm looking at Evan Maya's portal rankings. So he's Great Asabor, however you say it, was ranked 55th overall, which pretty highly ranked. But if you look at where he ranks positionally, he's the 21st ranked big man. I'm just combining power forwards and centers in here because he's listed as a power forward, but he definitely played more of a center role last year. So 21st ranked big man gets $2 million. And another funny thing Jason Belzer said was somebody quote tweeted that article and tagged him saying like, oh, this is going to reset the market. It's going to change so much. And he's like, no, it's not. This is the 55th ranked guy in Evan Maya. And it's a team that grossly overpaid, paid him 5 to 6 times more than he probably would have gotten normally. This is not resetting the market. This is just a desperate team that's making a desperate move. The same thing they did last year, where they, threw the Hail Mary up for Paul and didn't really work out late in the process. But.
Yeah, I did find it interesting that he said that he runs all these, or helps run these collectives, and he uses Evan Maya too, which is just goes to show you more credibility for Evan Maya more than anything.
Sure. So that's kind of where things stand on the big man. I wouldn't be surprised if they do land somebody, but I think there's just a lot of smoke right now, and it's ironic because the main portal recruiter is our own Smoke Williamson for the team, but I know that one guy we were talking to a lot was PJ Hayes, the San Diego transfer. Have you heard anything additional on him?
No, they're just trying to get him on a campus for a visit. They haven't done anything yet. He hasn't been there as of this moment. He could be there this weekend. We'll see. Wait and see. But that's kind of the only guy they were pushing at the moment. I know we've talked about the not mystery European guy who ended up being Burke. Bayek Tunsil? I think that's close. That's
the Turkish guy.
The Turkish guy who played for UCLA. But according to Trilly, he's down to BYU and Nebraska. But BYU was in the lead. They just hosted him Tuesday, I forget, of last week. So keep an eye on those two. For him, I don't think Rutgers goes after him. I think Rutgers could still potentially just go for another forward type. But from what I was told, the guys I was talking to, they're confident in their two centers. They think Martini could play some center. And they love Dylan Grant. And I know I've said this before, and we love Dylan Grant too, based on our rankings alone. I think he's a great player, and I think he'll play a lot as a backup 4. But the question is, how much time am I going to put Ace at the 4? Am I going to have to put this guy as the backup 4 now? Because I kind of have to play Ace at 4 if I'm going to put Martini at the 5 now. So it's like a whole mixed match of players now. And I still think they get the center when it's all said and done. It's just a matter of who, kind of. I don't know what you're going to get either, based on money, I guess, at this point, and based on playing time. Plays a factor.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly have playing time, and we definitely have some money to spare. We don't have $2 million to throw at a guy, clearly, but not many teams do. So it'll be interesting. There's still, Michael had talked about, publicly that the whole team's going to be together starting, I think, June 15th. So there's still a month to figure this situation out, kind of round the roster out. So I don't think it's panic time yet, but it is, based on some of what we're hearing kind of trickle out, they might be they might not land a center, which I would be kind of let down by, but still time. This all might just be a smokescreen, like we said. So just stay tuned. I'm sure more news will come out, and I'm sure that they definitely want to at least land one more transfer portal guy, primarily a shooter. So
Yeah, we'll wait and see what happens. But there was a guy that just entered too from Detroit that everyone's talking about, the BYU kid, Noah Waterman. I don't know if he's a New York native, but his first 2 seasons were at Detroit University, and then spent the last 2 at BYU. So it's a name. Who knows? I don't know how he entered portal because I'm pretty sure it was closed, but I guess there's still a way to somehow pull it off.
Yeah, that is very strange because I'm seeing.
Never mind. I just read Alex post a 30-day exemption for coaches leaving. Mark Pope left, obviously, BYU.
Got it.
Yes. So interesting, but a name nonetheless. It's probably nothing, but got to throw it out there.
Yep, definitely. Let's transition to some gridiron portal talk. So Rutgers was heavily involved with CJ West, the Kent State transfer. The last time we spoke, we were kind of going through the connections there. Unfortunately, he decided to commit elsewhere. He got future cast by somebody, I don't remember who it was, the same day he was on Rutgers campus. So it sounds like something happened where it just wasn't going to work out. He kind of decided where he was going to go. What are you hearing on why CJ West decided to choose Indiana over Rutgers?
There's a couple of things. One was grades. We've said this before about CJ West. There's some issues there, and he has to graduate in order to transfer. It sounds like he won't graduate until August, which is a big issue. Because if you can't get the guy in for training camp, like you can't really. I mean, I'm sure he's still in game shape, so it doesn't really matter at that point. But still got to learn the lingo from you guys, your schemes, your playbook, all that stuff. It's not easy, so that played a factor. So he wasn't able to just transfer right away. And then on top of it, NIL has a pretty big factor there. There's a reason why Indiana is being talked about by everyone right now. They're about to host one of the top 2 ranked prospects in the country, and Julian Lewis, the quarterback. They have NIL. They've shifted a lot of not all of their NIL, but they've gotten a big shift towards football recently with Kirk Signetti taking over the program. They got a lot of juice. There's nothing about it. And then on top of it, I mean, he's going to start from day one. There's no competition really there. They're not a very good football team. They've brought in a lot of pieces. I think they've brought in more transfers than most, if I had to guess. I'm just looking now. I'm looking at their depth chart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 starters on offense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 starters on defense, all from the portal, projected starters, mind you. He's going to start day one. It sounds like he's not going to have to compete alongside, say, a Malcolm Ray or a Keontae Hamilton or Zaire Angoy, who was also making some noise there. And Rutgers likes to rotate their linemen. They're 10 deep across the line from left to right. So it is an interesting decision. He is from the Midwest too, so don't forget that. So playing at Indiana as opposed to New Jersey plays a factor. But end of the day, there's a couple different factors. It was NIL, academics, and then playing time. So it all adds up to CJ West playing elsewhere.
Yeah, it's a bummer because he's a very, very high level player. But clearly there was some stuff that just eventually led him elsewhere. Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to hit on? Because this is a down part of the year. It's not the only sports still going on are like track and field, softball, baseball. School year's out at this point. Congrats to our own Alec Krauthamel for graduating this year. Yes. Is there anything else Rutgers related that you want to hit on before we go to our giveaway today?
Couple things. I mean, Chris Gotterup won the Myrtle Beach Classic yesterday, and that's huge for a couple reasons. Not just because he won and he gets a nice, what was the chunk of change? I posted it before. I think it was like somewhere in the 200,000 or something like that. No, I'm sorry, triple that, 720,000. Wow. And 300 FedEx Cup points. So now that officially qualifies him for the PGA Championship next weekend. So if you're tuning in next weekend, he'll be on TV. Also solidifies his tour status for the next 2 years. You don't have to worry about anything. No matter what, you'll be on the tour for 2 years guaranteed. I think he also qualifies for a bunch of other different events too. But that's huge. That's huge. And he's still repping Rutgers too, which is nice. I know he transferred towards the end of his career to play golf at Oklahoma State.
Yeah, he played at Oklahoma for 1 year. And Oklahoma, for those who don't know anything about college golf, they're basically like the Alabama of college golf. They're by far the best program, got the most titles. He wanted to go somewhere to kind of, elevate his game to another level. And it seems like it's worked out given, he's now a stalwart on the PGA Tour.
Yeah. So shout out to him. Other than that, I think that's really it. Just kind of waiting for official visit weekend in 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, so big visit weekends. Probably won't be a whole lot going on between now and then, but stay tuned because every time we say that, it seems like things then happen. So
yeah.
All right, let's do this giveaway. So for those of you who are joining us for the first time possibly or haven't listened in a while, probably the last 5 or 6 episodes we've been running the, for lack of a better word, the Gimme 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 sweepstakes. So if you commented in some way Gimme 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 into a YouTube video in the last 5 or 6, or if you wrote a Apple podcast review including Gimme Gimme Gimme, we entered you into our contest. I'm going to share the screen here. So those of you who entered on Apple Podcasts got 2 entries. Those of you who just entered with a YouTube comment got 1. Of course, it can't find this now. But we're going to run this this giveaway. Richie, you want to talk about the prizes that we're giving away?
Yeah, so we have a Rutgers cornhole board. I just had it pulled up, and I accidentally X'd out of it. It's via the great people of Fanatics. I just had it. I can't find it. Whatever. Besides the point, we are also going to give away Rutgers Stitch jersey. That's somewhere around here. I'll figure it out. I'll find it. And then on top of that, we also have a Dylan Harper trading card and signed trading card. And what else? There's something else, wasn't there?
Yes. Well, we got the cornhole board to first place. We have the Rutgers stitched jersey to second place, and we have the Dylan Harper signed card to third.
Yeah.
So that's going to go in order too. So the first person to win here will get the cornhole board and so on and so forth. Yes. So without further ado, we're going to spin this wheel.
There's a lot of people on there.
There are a lot. All right, so the winner of the cornhole board, the Rutgers themed cornhole board, is Alex13 Arnold from YouTube. Please contact Richie at rurichie@gmail.com to claim your prize. So I'm going to remove you because you already won. Congrats again. Now let's go for the second prize, which is a Rutgers stitched football jersey. All right, so second prize goes to Noah FB, the YouTube commenter. So congrats to Noah for winning second prize. Again, contact Richie at rurichie@gmail.com to claim your prize. Sweet. Let's go for third prize now, which is the Dylan Harper signed card. The winner of that is Dib Sports, the YouTube commenter Dib Sports. Congrats, you are the winner of the Dylan Harper signed trading card. Again, contact Richie at rurichie@gmail.com to claim your prize. I want to thank everybody who has submitted a review or a comment for this giveaway. As you guys know, we try and do these giveaways, at least every 2 months, just to kind of give something back to you guys, because we really do appreciate you guys listening, subscribing, telling a friend, all those things. It really helps to grow the channel and grow this podcast even bigger than we could have even imagined. So thanks to everybody who have entered in, and we'll do another one at some point, I'm sure, before the start of next season. But do you have anything else you wanted to hit on before we head out of here today, Rich?
Not that I could think of. I'm looking through now. I know the big golf weekend for Rutgers. Rutgers women's golf won that tournament. So
the NGI,
yeah, that's huge. Also, if you haven't already, if you are a member of KTR, they are doing a vote on which I think it's a T-shirt. Yeah, the T-shirt for Twin Elephant. So go vote on one of those. I don't know if it's still open for voting. It might be. I think it is. But yeah, that's really all I got.
All right. Well, thank you once again for listening. This has been another edition of the Night Report podcast. Signing off.